there, Jennifer. Welcome, everybody. Happy New Year, Jennifer. How are you doing?
Doing okay. How about you?
Not too bad. Welcome, Little Twisted. Welcome, Kathy. Welcome, Roger. Everybody started to tune in like Amy and Rita on this cold Friday evening. So we're working on a case and looking into Alesha, I see. So what is the history on this one?
She is Alesha Reade. She is a 45-year-old woman from Independence, Missouri, which is near Kansas City. Mother of 8 children, grandmother of 5, and she was last heard from February 9th, 2021. Text message. I think there was some also phone calls, but I know there's a text message to her sister that said, "Always remember I love you." February 11th, 2021, she was reported missing, and later that day, her remains were found in by a river outside of Independence, and she was dismembered.
Wow.
So, and it doesn't seem they checked out a few leads. She got a ride from what they call a Good Samaritan. They cleared that person. They found out who it was. So they're just trying to figure something out. Definitely, the reward is up close to $10,000. But she was last seen getting into the passenger seat of a dark-colored Volkswagen Passat. She messaged her sister at that time, and the family now knows they should have kind of read between the lines, and they should have seen, hindsight, they feel bad about it because they probably should have known she was in a little trouble. But we do have a few news clips.
So she actually texted somebody.
Sister.
And she said what?
She told me that she loved me and to always remember that she loved me. That's what her sister was quoted of saying.
So she knew something wasn't going to go right.
Right. She knew something was not okay.
Yeah, something wasn't right.
Right.
Does she have any history of like dating violence or any exes or strangers?
Nothing I found. No, but why would a Good Samaritan gave her a ride and that was in 2021. That's a little, I don't know, if I'm a woman by myself, I don't think I'm good. I mean, granted, we do ride share, but I don't think I'd get into a random car that wasn't ride share unless it was a real emergency to give me a ride. But apparently that person was cleared of all involvement. So they said the family thinks that investigators are close to finding something, but it doesn't seem like, I don't know, you just wonder if there's just like 1 or 2 missing pieces. It's just preventing them from having enough to make an arrest.
She had a lot of DOCs.
It doesn't say. They're not talking about that at all.
Oh, that's strange. Yeah, let's play what you got. Let's see if we can try to figure this one out.
I'll say this. Deputies said that the images of the remains that had been found, they didn't know exactly what it was, but it prompted the medical examiner at the time to do a more in-depth exam to see if the remains were animal or human. So the remains were very, very much pieces.
So her body was out there for a while then. If they
2 days.
If they were trying to figure out if it was animal remains or human then.
Yeah, they were not in a good state, but it was only 2 days after she was reported missing and 2 days after she was last heard from.
So it must have been animals that must have, on her corpse then.
Yeah. Here we go. I've got the.
Every day, the RTA gets thousands of New Orleanians where they need to be. Download the La Pass app today to plan your ride. Get real-time arrival information or make mobile payments. because the RTA is how New Orleans rolls.
It's been almost 2 years since anyone's seen Alesha Reade.
The mother of 8 went missing in February of 2021.
Her body was later found in a rural area of the county. And KCTV5's Emily Rittman talks to her family now about their continued search for justice in tonight's KC Unsolved.
Alesha Reade's mother passed away before she could see her daughter's killer caught. Investigators have developed several persons of interest in this case. They are asking Alesha's circle of friends and anyone with any information to please come forward to help solve this homicide case.
Alesha died that day, but they killed our huge part of our family, and we need answers so we can start healing.
Shonda Reade says this text message is the last she received from her sister Alesha before her death.
She sent me that message and she told me that she loved me and to always remember that she loved me. And I'm like, oh my God, did she know something was going to happen to her? Because she wanted to make sure that I knew that she loved me.
Alesha was last seen at a favorite gas station off East 23rd Street in Independence around 8:40 p.m. on February 9th, 2021.
I know that she got into a vehicle with a citizen that night, that being a good Samaritan, to give her a ride. We were able to track down that person and eliminate him from being a suspect in the case.
County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Chris Johnson says surveillance video from the gas station recorded video of Alesha and her voice that night. Officers examined the surveillance video closely.
A lot of us investigators, we heard Alesha's voice that night. We understand what she sounded like. We knew she was in a lot of fear. So that's our driving. Just the sound of her voice as a driving factor for us. We want to be able to get justice for her. We also would like to know what happened right before she went into the gas station. We know some information that would lead that she was in danger before that.
On February 10th, 11th, and 13th in 2021, investigators recovered remains that were later identified as Alesha's in several locations near Cameron Road and Easley Road in Clay County. Since then, they followed dozens of leads around the state of Missouri.
They will get justice for Alesha as well as her family.
Alesha's family members have canvassed with flyers. They want to help investigators find the final pieces of information needed to see an arrest, something Alesha's mother wanted to see before her death.
She passed away in November, and that was kind of my promise to her, was to try to figure this out.
I wish that she would have been able to be here with us when we finally do get there, because we will not give up until we do.
We can't keep standing still like this. We've got to figure something out. She has many children that need closure, grandchildren, I mean, it's hard for us, for everyone involved. And all we do is just try to keep each other going, keep each other strong.
We're just that one tip away from getting the answers we need.
Alesha's family is offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to an arrest in her case, in addition to the $2,000 reward offered by the KC Crime Stoppers Tips Hotline. Anyone with information can anonymously report it by calling 816-474-TIPS or use your cell phone to take a photo of the QR code you see on your screen right now. Crime Stoppers also offers up to a $2,000 reward for any tip that leads to an arrest for any felony crime. Reporting for tonight's KC Unsolved, Emily Rittman, KCTV5 News.
So it sounds like her body was in several different places in the area.
And they also, it does. And they said that now the investigation is covering leads in 3 different states.
There's a lot of discussion in the chat that a lot of local news reports saying there was a lot of DLC usage.
Was there?
And I noticed that the pictures that were shown, you see how the pictures were different.
Yeah.
And that may indicate, I'm not saying, indicate that all parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. This is for entertainment purposes only. We always have to say that in the beginning. And also I have a flash. But it also may indicate some DLC uses as well, right?
Right.
How the different faces changes and the body changes. So that is also a possibility. It's weird because when a person knows their demise, something that's may turn south or may not return, she made that statement to the family member by that text.
Yeah. That sounds personal.
But what's really strange though is that no family members are saying anything about her past, right? Like there's indications of, her being afraid or frantic or any problems or depression or anything like that.
Right.
What else do you have?
I've got another video that is, here's the one that's covering, saying that it's now, it talks about why it's in 3 states. Let's see what else I can get at.
Yeah, it's interesting why it's in 3 states. I don't understand that.
Yep. So, one second.
Because if it's in 3 states, it's either 2 things. Either they have multiple suspects that fled the area that went to other states, or they has circumstantial evidence that has led them to other states, right?
Yeah, I'm yes. Let me see. Here we go. Yep, this is the one. Here we go. Play.
10th, 2021. She was 45 years old. Her case is the subject of tonight's Casey Unsolved.
When Clay County investigators found Alesha Reade's body through a thicket of brush out here down a creek bed, they didn't know who it was. They eventually found her remains scattered in 3 different locations across miles. That in itself haunts her family and the detectives who saw the aftermath firsthand.
Love you, my dear sister in our world. You're beautiful. I love you.
She didn't deserve to have her life taken like that. We didn't deserve what we're left with.
What Alesha's sister, Carrie, and sister-in-law, Melissa, were left with was a death certificate they can't unsee.
Dismemberment and assault by others. That's what her death certificate said.
Alesha was 45, Carrie's little sister.
I used to be the one to protect her as we got older. She was protective of me because of her living on the streets and just living the life that she lived.
Carrie now replays voicemails that remind her of Alesha's sweet and loving spirit.
Happy Mother's Day. I love you, sissy.
Alesha never got to see her son get accepted to law school.
I think she'd be excited to know that.
Yeah, she'd be proud.
She has grandchildren who barely got to know her.
She meant so much to me.
This is the Alesha's case file right here.
9 thick binders with more than 15 search warrants, more than 25 phone orders, and hundreds of follow-up reports.
314 plus supplemental reports.
Sergeant Chris Johnson supervises the criminal investigation unit for the Clay County Sheriff's Office. That night, he was the first investigator on scene.
I remember it vividly. I remember where I was driving to when I got the call.
A person who was out walking saw what they thought was remains. When Johnson got a closer look, it was clear they were human and hadn't been there long.
I know what her condition was, and how she was left. And nobody should ever have to be treated that way.
It was dark out there in the country.
We worked that evening with the aid of flashlights.
They put out a metro-wide call for missing persons reports, then went back the next day and the next. It was bitter cold as they worked 16-hour days, expanding to 3 square miles of evidence collection. On day 2, they found a missing persons report from Independence, a woman last seen at this gas station. The remains they found had a tattoo. Alesha's family confirmed that's her. They checked surveillance at the gas station. She was there 1 day before her remains were found. Her face and her voice in the video revealed fear.
I don't know that I'll ever get that voice out of my head.
Investigators have a solid idea of what happened that night, but they need someone who knows for sure Bring it full circle. Johnson knows he'll always have open cases, but this one, it's like an open wound.
1,148 days since this occurred. They think they got away with it, but I want them to know they haven't got away with it.
Just imagine yourself in our situation and how horrible it is to live with. We want answers and we want justice so we can put it behind us.
For KC Unsolved, Betsy Webster, KCTV5 News.
The standard tips hotline reward for Clay County is $2,000, but Alesha's family has added to it, bringing it up to $7,000. Tips to the hotline are anonymous. You can also submit tips online by scanning the QR code.
All right. So the detective said they. So
Yeah.
it must be more than one person, and they must know something that they're not releasing, right? Number two,
yes.
It sounds like whoever or they that discarded the remains of the body, it sounded like, and if the family or friends are watching the show, my heart goes out to you, right? And bear with me. It sounds like it's possibility that animals carried off some of the body parts out in the field or surrounding areas.
Yeah.
What it sounds like.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that does happen. When somebody corpse or body's recovered, some of the body parts are removed from the area, and that does happen. And that can, contaminate the scene, because you can tell if somebody took body parts out into a certain area, because there's going to be tracks, right? Whether it's footprints, animal tracks, car tracks, vehicle tracks, ATV tracks, there's going to be some type of evidence how that body part or remains got out into that certain area.
Right.
Unless it's like on the side of the road or creek where they can just roll down the window and throw it out and dispose of it. But there's going to be some type of physical evidence left behind where they can determine whether it was human place or animal transported. So, and I'm not trying to be, grotesque or disrespect Alesha at all. So, right. Just like, let me be frank with you. Just like I just said, they just throw it out the window. Correct.
Yeah. And where that lady was walking, that reporter, that seemed sick. That brush seemed sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it seems more like they were placed unless they were moved, like you said. You wonder. So it's multiple people is what they suspect. I think who said it was dismemberment is what is that? Is that a sign of, that's not a crime of passion, is it? Because here we've got some that are more ritualistic.
Well, so dismemberment, it depends on, and they didn't elaborate, right?
Right.
Whether how far dismemberment was, just arms, was it arms and legs, was it decapitation? So yeah, like, let me be frank with you, at least two, because when he said they, he released something, because it wasn't like, this person thinks they got away with it, right? This person, which means one. It's like they, right? So it's a group of people, more than two, just like, let me be frank with you. I like that, man. Let me be frank with you. That's kind of hard not to like, but
I know, right?
right? Because you usually say that to somebody. Let me be frank with you. But if you go back and look, they're being tight sealed because they're not saying that, well, how the body was laid out or what was found with the body. But what's strange is this happened in what year?
2021.
2021. Now this is 2025. So we're talking, just a little over a little over 3 years, right? Depending on when in 2021, February. So yeah, so it'll be 4 years next year.
Yeah.
Or next month, I mean.
Yeah.
But it seemed like that they would release something to give us a little more to chew on, right? like what was found there to that they would think that it would tie into 3 other states.
Right. And they didn't elaborate on that. And so what I'm wondering too is they think they know what happened. They're just waiting for someone to confirm what happened. Is that not a strange statement to you that there, it just seems like there's 1 or 2 things to say, okay, that's what's going to tie all what we know already together to have enough to arrest and prosecute. Am I interpreting that wrong, you think?
No, that's feasible thinking. Yes, it's like that they are talking to somebody or waiting for somebody they know to come forward to validate what they know and confirm it before they move forward. But it's been a few years, right? So what are they not telling, or what are they holding on to? Now, anytime you got an ongoing case, you're not going to tell the public everything you know, right? Because you don't want the people to know that's involved with the crime. You're not going to show your hand. You're not going to flush them out. Now is not the time. But with the amount of time that went by, it seems like they'd be closing in on them unless everything they have is circumstantial and they don't have enough evidence to say Billy Joe, right? And I'm just fabricating a name, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody's associated with this case with the name of that name, I just pulled it out of thin air. Let's just call X, all right? But if guy named X or she named X is involved with it, it seems like they would already be circling in on that person and making an arrest. But what are they waiting for? What is it that they need to close the case and make the arrest?
There was another report I read that someone had submitted an anonymous note to the authorities about details, and they tracked down. They weren't too anonymous for long. They tracked down whoever it was and ruled this individual out. As well as that, they said they had ruled that Good Samaritan out she got in the car with. So that I found a little weird, because you wonder what that note said. You know, who was it and what did that note say? They said they're looking for a specific, this one says they're looking for a specific group of people. Or is to a group?
So it's interesting. A group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you say a group of people, that could be, is this a group of people that she hung around? Is this a group of people that's so DOC, right, that she was affiliated or known? Is this a group of people of a cult or religion? I mean, who knows? I mean, that just opens up the door of a plethora of things.
Right. Yeah, because like I said, dismemberments down here that are recent, you know, 90. No, not 90. Yeah, like 2004 and 20 to 2022 that are tied together. They're ritualistic in nature.
Are they?
Yeah, and that's where I was thinking. I wondered. That was my first thought, just because of what is going on down here, what had gone on down here. Then that was where I was going to go. So
well, and the thing though too is that we don't know her backlog. We don't know her arrest history, right? If she does have an arrest history, if she does, you know, did she owe somebody a lot of money for stuff that maybe she had used or taken and not paid? SRA. I don't know, a little twisted that that could be a possibility. I'm not going to rule anything out at this point. I mean, anything's on the table right now.
Right.
So,
and they did say that there was other injuries on the body that could indicate a few different kinds of what happened to her before she was dismembered.
Yeah. Was she tortured? Was she, you know, assaulted?
Right.
No. Right. Was she GR, you know, passed around? And that's a lot of unanswered questions. So, you know, are there gangs in that area, you know, that have been reported? Are there a lot of gang activities?
Right.
because unfortunately, and I'm not saying that this comes to this case, but a lot of people have a lot of secrets and a lot of skeletons in their closet.
Right.
So I'm not saying, when it comes to this one, this is the case. Let me be frank. MS-13 likes to dismember and human traffic. Yeah, they do. A lot of that happens. That's why I said the gangs. But
is that what MS-13 is?
yeah, they like to do that, and some of the other
Really?
gangs do too. But and that's the point. We don't know, right? So with the lack of information, it didn't say the body was stabbed 36 times. The body had 32 cuts or 5 lacerations. The
Right.
body was beaten with a blunt object. There's a lot of what ifs and unknown factors. So it's like, where do we go with this?
So I've never heard of gang-related activities that involve dismemberment. I feel so sheltered down here. I've never heard that, but that's not something I deal with in our area. So not at all. So this is why we have lots of people's input from around the country, for sure.
Well, no, I'm not saying Lulu. I'm just saying that in the lack of the police report or the police response, usually we hear that the body was found bludgeoned to death, the body was stabbed X amount of times, the body had X amount of lacerations, a blunt object was used, and they'll say what object, no, not on this body, on Alesha. They just said dismemberment. They didn't say anything like that. And that's what I'm saying. A lack of that information is why are they withholding that? Because like Jennifer said, there are other indications that something was done to the body, but they didn't say what it was. And that's what I was questioning. Why are they not releasing information? So, right. Yeah. No, I evidently it is personal, Lulu. I totally agree with that. She knew whoever did this. Because my thing is, being prior law enforcement, did she have defensive wounds? Defensive wounds will indicate if a person held their hands up, any cuts, bruises on the arms, on the face, any scratches, any skin underneath their fingernails, anything to ward off the attacker, because that right there would indicate DNA underneath their fingernails. Stuff like that would indicate that possibly she did not know the attacker and she was trying to defend herself during the attack. And that's some of the stuff that I look for in the reports of the news media, is if they found stuff like that and they release that out to the media, or if the autopsy report comes out, they tell us what kind of wounds that they had on the body. That's what I look for. And we're not seeing or indicating anything like that with anybody at this time. Everything's hush hush.
Yeah, you saw a lot of those phone log requests, though. Remember those binders? Lots of phone log requests.
Yes, absolutely. They didn't say if they submitted a rape kit either, right?
Right.
So, and that's another thing. Did they do a DNA collection kit? Did they scrape her fingernails? There's just a lot of unanswered questions in it. And I don't know. There's just a lot of. This tells me, by an outsider looking in on this, that she's well known in the community, and somebody just said it. She's well known in the community, and people know who she is, and something happened, and either she owed somebody something or she knew too much and she was going to speak or do something, and they were like, the hell you are. And they made an example out of her.
Question: do you think part of this is it's possible they were sending a message to other people?
I think so.
If you talk ... You know what I mean? I wonder about
I think so.
Yep.
Yes, and I think that's why they're in 3 states.
Okay. Or
I
maybe we
think
can
it's
dig up some
possibly organized crime ring. I'm not going to say what type, but I think something happened. Yes. Hey, Terry, welcome to the show, brother. So, yes, absolutely. So, because with the tight lip of the police department and everything, and the way they're talking, and the way the body was dismembered, I don't know how. I'm just trying to imagine this. Yes, a little twisted, a high profile, and they're trying to make sure, hey, Infinity, and they're trying to dot the I's and cross the T's. Hey, Tammy Johnson, long time no see. Yes, I think that's a possibility. And this is just looking at it from an outsider. And ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer, I can be at the wrong end of the ballpark, but I don't think I am.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the panel comes up with for sure on this
Yeah,
one.
absolutely. Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
And I'll do some more digging too, see if we can find any updates.
Yeah, because it's weird. Because when I did a search, her name really didn't come up on too much. That's why I said beginning of the show, I didn't have really nothing.
No, and most of the news reports said kind of regurgitated the same stuff, even with the families. Right. We'll see. Maybe we'll find some other little rabbit holes to dig down and see what we can find.
Yes, and like I said, from Jennifer and ourselves, and from our family, our hearts, regardless, of what she did or did not do, no human needs to be treated like that. Unfortunately, we make poor decisions in life and wrong decisions, but we're still human, right? And we can always ask God forgiveness and recover from our poor judgments and bad choices. So, and regardless of what she did or not do, I think justice needs to be served for her.
Well, maybe we can help. Who knows?
Well, I hope so. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this show and you have any leads, make sure and reach out to local Crime Stoppers that we broadcasted. And if not, reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to forward the information to local authorities and the FBI. That's what we're here for, to try to see if we can help. And we'll go ahead and submit everything to the panel and see what we come up with, ladies and gentlemen. And the panel. So what we do, let me be frank, is next Friday, we have a panel of people with abilities that we submit a picture to right after the show. And the picture they will get will be this picture right here and nothing else. And what they'll do is that they will try to remote view, douse, whatever they do psychically with their abilities, and try to look in on this case and try to figure out what happened and try to come up with clues and so forth and try to help find out and try to help bring closure. A lot of times we submit the case afterwards to local authorities for review, or the family members and friends and local authorities will watch the case and take notes and go from there. So hopefully we can help out in some form or fashion. So we try to bring some news and some, what do you call it? When we bring stuff to the surface, attention to some of these cold cases and unsolved murders or missing persons, to attention to ones that have been left behind. So we will try to see what we can do. Any words, Jennifer?
And we always need more cases. If you've got one you want us to take a look at, submit it to us and we'll take a look at it and see if we can put it on the show for sure.
Yeah, like Jennifer says, if you know in your area, just like Jennifer said, if you got a cold case, missing person case, or unsolved case that's in your area or that you know of that's out there, send it to Jennifer or myself. We'll take a look at it, like she said, and we'll see if we can put it in line and air it and see if some of our psychics and people with abilities can work on it. Yep. And don't forget, we got a show at 8. And at 9 o'clock tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and from coast to coast, around the world, Godspeed. We'll see you then. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Coming to a YouTube channel near you.